Hi, this is David again, and this video I did once before, and it wouldn't post. I don't know why. Maybe YouTube. I don't know. There was nothing on it obnoxious, other than me. Maybe that's why they get that out of here. I don't know. This is a video that I hesitate to do, but I'm going to do. Now, I'm not hesitating because it makes me look bad. Look at your screen. I look bad no matter what. It's a tape I don't want to do because of some of the implications. I'll just leave it like that. What this tape is going to be about is my last suicide attempt. So far, there could be another anytime. Anytime. Well, let me tell you some things, because I've had such kind comments by so many people. I'm astounded that there's so many good people in the world. As a member of the Mormon Church, I could never find more than 4 or 5 on one hand. And here I get, oh God, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't look at the statistics much at all, but I know I'm getting over 1,000 hits a day, and I know that 90% of them are extremely positive. The reason that I'm going to do this video is because I want to give hope, H-O-P-E, to those that I know are lurking, that are watching, and may gain something from this. It's not embarrassing to give this tape, but it's sobering. It's sobering for me and my family. But I've always told you, I'm going to be honest and tell you the truth through my eyes. Other people may see something the same as I see it, but they interpret it differently. So you make the decision, you know, who you want to believe. I had open heart surgery not 2 years. It's not been quite 2 years. I was sitting in my chair and eating potato chips, drinking my Coke, and watching TV, and I had chest pains, and I thought, well, they're going to go away the next day. They didn't, and so I went to the hospital. Well, they did an angiogram. That's where they put a camera up your leg by your genitals. Said, be careful cutting in there. And they were. I think, I haven't been down there lately, so maybe they cut my balls off. I don't know, but at least I still feel a little bit like a man. Well, they go up there with a camera, they go through your leg, and they go up to your heart. And then they look in there like a Galileo, I guess, and go, holy shit. Now, when your heart surgeon does that, that is usually not good news. And I said, hey, turn that video screen over here. I want to see holy shit. And when he did, I said, holy shit. So we were in agreement. So he put 2 stents in one side of my arteries, and they're little tunnels that they put in there with a tool, and then they open up and they unblock that area of the artery, and the blood can go through. Well, it was exactly a year, exactly, almost to the day later, I had the same damn pains. So I went in and they did another angiogram. And he goes, holy shit. I go, God, don't even show me the screen. I don't want to see the screen. I'm not paying the bill if you make me see the screen. So he put in 3 stents. So I had 2 in one side, 3 in the other. So I'm the 5 stent man. Well, while he got done putting the stents in, he decided to roam with the camera. Now, I don't know if that's a peeking Tom or a peeking doctor, cardiologist, but he went up into my arteries of my heart, and I think there's 4 up there. If you have a heart, my ex-wife said, you'll never find a heart in there. But he did. He found a heart, and he goes, holy shit. I go, God, now what? You've opened everything up with stents. I have no veins. I just have metal tunnels letting blood through. And he said, well, you have heart disease and need immediate surgery. I said, I don't think that's good news, is it? He goes, no, we're going to schedule you. Whoa. I said, can't I think about this? And he goes, well, yeah, but you might die thinking. I said, that might be an alternative. I'm not sure. Because I've heard, you know, I'm 65 almost, and I've heard of people who've had open heart surgery, they take a vein out of your leg, and I've seen those scars. Oh my God, you know, they're like, I don't know, 3.5 feet long from your ankle up to your hip, that they take the vessel out of your vein, out of your body. And then I thought that they cut the vein to your heart and then put the new vein in. Now, I learned. They leave the old vein alone and they make a U-turn with another vein that's above the blockage and below it. So the old one is still pumping, but the new one pumps blood too, so you feel pretty good. So I've heard that and I've seen it, and I talked to a lot of men that said if they had to do it over again, screw it. They'd rather die. And I weighed those opinions heavily because I'm an atheist. I don't care if I die. So I went home, and I don't know if it was a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and I started looking up doctors that still had their cardiac licenses. And in Utah, there's only a few that really have a professional background, and they have you know, a resume of people living after they open their heart up. So I thought, hell, I'll go in. So I go in. Now I know a little bit about this, but I'm glad I didn't know all about it, because I knew I could see it on the internet, and I thought, God, I don't think I want to see it. So I went in, and it was cool. The anesthesiologist, he says, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I'm ready, but remember, I've woken up twice under general anesthetic, so put it in there, baby. I don't want to open up and see my heart pumping on my tummy." Okay. So I counted to 10, and I was gone. I was in the celestial kingdom. But I didn't see Joseph there. I did see a lot of his 14-year-old wives. They were pissed. They were pissed. And Joseph was banging on the gate. He couldn't get in. But anyway, they took a saw, and they started here, went down almost to my belly button, and they cut my rib cage apart so they could open the ribs up. Now he could get his hands in there and work on the heart. And so that was a little uncomfortable when I woke up. Now I didn't know. I just went to a chiropractor only once in my life, and well, twice in my life. And he took a chest x-ray, and I see all this wire on my breastbone. And I go, "Hey, did he leave something in there?" He goes, "No, they wired that sucker together so you don't fall apart." Well, I've fallen apart since then many, many times. So anyway, I woke up, and the anesthesiologist, when they give you too much, you're sick as a dog. And I was in intensive care. I guess I was in critical condition, I don't know. But anyway, I was throwing up all the time. Now when you've had whatever, 80 or 100 stitches on the skin, and you've had whatever inside, I don't know how many stitches he put in there, and I looked at my leg kind of like a war vet, because I thought that damn scar is going to be on the leg, and it wasn't. It's just a little tiny scar, and I don't guess they reached down in there with a camera and a knife and pulled it out. So I don't have that great big scar down my my leg, so that was cool. But I was so sick, and you know, I don't know what pain was until that situation. I had morphine, and Oxycontin was my friend for days. I couldn't eat, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't go to the bathroom. And I'm saying, I must be in the celestial kingdom. This is how Mormons punish you when you leave their church. Well, a long story short, I came home, and my precious little Allison, God, I think I might have died without my 9-year-old. She was running food to me, water to me. She shot all my insulin, my medication she reminded me of, brought food in constantly, cleaned up constantly, and she's just an angel. Just an absolute angel. She saved my life. Well, I laid there several months, and I started to get better. I had some home nurses come in, and they took my heart pressure, and I had a machine on my heart that went to Wisconsin. So if I was dying in Utah, the machine would tell Wisconsin, and Wisconsin, I guess, would call Salt Lake. And they said, David who? So anyway, she wasn't that pretty and wasn't that young, so I kicked her out after a week or so. But anyway, I started to recover, and God, I was sore for a year. I couldn't lift anything, and I felt terrible because my wife is so tiny. She's only 108 pounds, and whatever, 5'1" or 2, and my daughters are even shorter than that, and they're carrying all the groceries up the staircase. Now, we don't have a staircase. We live on the ground floor. If you're a Danite, look for me on the ground floor. But I felt guilty as hell because we'd buy shit and you know, go on picnics, and I couldn't carry the cooler. Well, my wife is 23 years younger than I am. She was born when I had 2 kids. So I have 2 kids older than my wife, and be that as it may, I was sore, and I don't pick anything up even today. I don't, because my chest and my back start to hurt again. So anyway, I just, like in the old movies, hey, I got back problems, I can't lift anything. And it was always the sham guys that did that. But now it's me, and it's true. It's very, very true. Well, it's coming up now on 2 years. Well, I have a wonderful doctor. You know, he just is a wonderful human being. He's a Mormon, and he's a good doctor, and he's very, very kind to me. And one day, I don't know, 8 or 9 months after the surgery, I had a difficult time on the job. I was still working, and I just had one of those days where my medications weren't working, and I had all kinds of problems, and so I came home and announced to my wife, I'm going to kill myself. Now, when you say that to a wife, they usually cry, throw themselves down, grab your shirt. My wife packed me a lunch and gave me a map. She said, don't die in Utah. The Mormons will dissect your body. Not totally true. She did grab me, and she was upset. But I made my mind up. I said, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm not going to hurt like this, and I'm not going to wait to die like this. If I'm going to die, I'll do it with my own hands. I have that right. I live every day at the grace of myself. If I want to live, I stay living. If I don't want to live, I'm gone. Well, you know I'm bipolar, and we can be suicidal if the meds aren't working. When we get on the high on the high end, we're happy, we talk fast, and we're extremely creative and bright. When we go to the low side, it's suicide. There's nothing in between. Well, my medications keep me now in between. And so I'm high, and low, but I'm in the middle, so everybody hates me. That's okay. I don't care. So I left, and I took the car, my wife's car, and she said, don't run it into a freeway overpass. I said, I'm not going to. I'm not that brave. When I see that cement coming at me, I go, hey, airbag in the face and a seat shoulder harness is going to cut my fat stomach right in half. So anyway, I drove away, and I took all my medications with me. Now again, you know, some of this stuff is funny, but some of it is very serious. If any of you are thinking of suicide, I understand. I understand, and I may not stop a suicide. That may not be a bad thing. I'm sorry, I'm bipolar, and some of us belong dead. The world is better if we're dead. But that's a hard decision for us to make when we're down and out of our minds. Well, anyway, I got to this place, and it's hard to find a place to kill yourself. There's too many people around, and they're good Samaritans. They go, oh, he's killing himself. Get him to the hospital. Well, I found this place, and I parked with a whole bunch of other people. And you know I'm diabetic, and usually I'll shoot maybe 30 units of R and 60 units of N in a day for 24 hours. And boy, that can make you hungry as hell to try to get those sugars back up. But that's what my dosage is. Well, I took Lantus, which is an expensive drug. It's a 24-hour drug. N is 12 hours. And Humalog, which is extremely expensive, but damn, it works fast. So rather than 30 and 60, I'm embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed. But I'm not so embarrassed that really, if it saves one life, if one person writes to me and goes, oh, God, David, thank you so much for being honest and just letting us all know this can be survived, especially Mormonism. You come out of Mormonism, you're stripped naked to the world emotionally, financially, in every way. And it's a hard adjustment. Years and years of reprogramming and deprogramming from a cult. So anyway, I took my insulin. I took 1,100 units of Lantus and about 600 units of Humalog. Then I just sit there in the car, and I have my other medications with me, and I said, ah, shit, I'll take a handful of these and a handful of these. So I'm sitting there going, what the hell? I'm not dying. Well, I sat there, I don't know, maybe an hour or two, and pretty soon I must have been having hallucinations. I don't know. But I'm honking the horn of my car, and this whole group of people are looking at me. And I'm screaming out the window, get out of the bathroom! Damn, girls, get out of there! I guess I thought I had, you know, wives or kids or something in the bathroom. Well, I got so impatient, I opened the door of the car, and I was going to walk in the bathroom and get those people out. Well, I fell down! As soon as I stepped out, I fell down. And this guy comes over and says, you know, I don't think you're in any condition to drive. And I said, of course I am. I couldn't even get in the car, so I'm crawling to the floorboard of the car, and I prop myself up. I know I didn't need a seatbelt because I wanted to die anyway. And I shut the door. Well, I was pissed that he called the highway patrol. I'm not pissed now, but I was pissed then because I didn't have any judgment. I didn't have any judgment. And so when I'm not done with the story, but when I told this story to my doctor, he said, David, he said, I screwed up. I should have warned you. After open heart surgery like that, many people do commit suicide or feel like it, that they go down, down, down. And I didn't warn you, and sure enough, you're one of the ones that was there. So anyway, I get in the car, and I drive off. And I'm a pretty good driver. I haven't had a ticket, I don't know, 40 or 50 years, and I have no wrecks, etc. So I used to be a bus driver for BYU. I love those ski bunnies at BYU. It was hard for me to drive, looking up in that mirror. But anyway, I'm driving along, and I thought I was doing pretty good. But self-evaluation can be dangerous. I look up in my mirror. Here's the damn highway patrol. I go, I'm not over the speed limit. But I must have been over the lines. So I pull over, and I'm being cool. And I say, yes. And he says, do you have a license and insurance? And I said, I think I do. And I found it, and I gave it to him. And he looked down on the floorboard of the passenger, and there's like 100 insulin needles down there. And he says, I guess you're a diabetic. I go, yeah, I am. And he looks up, and he sees my handicap sticker, and he goes, oh, I see you're also handicapped. I said, yeah, I'm a pretty healthy person. And then he says, is there anything else? And I said, well, from time to time I'm bipolar. And you know damn well, if you're bipolar, you're damn bipolar every day, every minute, your whole life. He says, well, I don't think you're in any condition to drive. Now, I knew it was better to shut up, but I couldn't. So he says, I don't think you're capable of driving. And his partner was standing right there, and he agreed. And I said, well, that's 2 against 1. I said, I feel fine. And then he said something very important to me. Now, I wasn't so out of my mind. Of course, I was dying. I didn't know that. But I wasn't so out of my mind when he leaned in and he said, let me smell that Coke there that you're drinking. Because he was trying to see if I was, drunk driving. Well, I wasn't, of course. And he said, well, I can do one of 2 things. And I like choices. I do like choices. So I said, okay, what are they? He says, well, driving under the influence of even prescription drugs is a DUI. And I can put you in jail, or I can send you to a hospital. Now, I wasn't that far out. I said, you know what? The hospital sounds a little better. It's the last words I remember saying. The next conscious moment I had, I was laying in the emergency room of a hospital. An ambulance had taken me there, and they got scissors, and they're cutting my shirt off. And I told them, that's one of my favorite shirts, don't cut it. And then, of course, they could see the scar from heart surgery, and they could see my face and go, this son of a bitch, we should have let him die, but we can't, it's against the law. So anyway, I'm in there, and I start to wake up, and within 24 hours or so, I was half of the man I am today. And I said, I'd kind of like to go home. And they said, well, we don't think you're ready yet. I said, well, that's one doctor's opinion. Now it's 1 against 1, and I have the veto power. Well, they impounded my car. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I'm like 50 miles from the nearest town. I mean, there's cows, there's bulls, there's caribou, sheep everywhere. So, I said, I'm leaving. One of my better decisions, kind of like some of my marriages. So I pull the IVs out, and the oxygen, and the IVs in here and whatever. I said, I'm going. And the nurse says, you can't go, you don't have a shirt, and it's winter. It's winter. I said, well, I don't have a shirt, you cut it in half. She says, well, we have shirts. Could you wait a minute and I'll go get you a shirt? Well, of course, I hadn't had my meds, and I was very paranoid, and probably right. She wasn't getting me a shirt. She was calling the police. And so I'm like Jack Nicholson. I'm saying, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. So I have no shirt on. And I don't know, maybe underwear. I guess I had one of the robes on with underwear. No, I didn't have a robe because I had no shirt. So anyway, I went out the front door. Well, now the nurses and the doctors and the patients in the emergency room were all up looking at the crazy man walking out in the snow with no shirt, no shoes. So they said, well, how are you going to get to your car? I said, I'm going to call a cab. They said, you don't have a phone. I said, well, I'll just call with my voice. It was like 28 miles away. And so then I realized I really didn't have any transportation. So here I am, walking to the nearest neighborhood, and I knock on the door, expecting people to help me. This lady comes to the door, sees all the bandages I ripped off, no shirt, a scar a mile long, no shoes, and I said, could I borrow your phone? I was so disappointed that she said, no, and she shut the door. And I go, that must be a Mormon. That must be a Mormon, because I didn't have any garments on. So anyway, I start walking back towards the hospital, and I see the police cars show up. I go, oh shit, this is not good news. I haven't broken a law that I know of. I just, AMA, against medical advice, left the hospital. So I'm walking on this wet grass, and I fall into a stream of water. And I go, shit, now I'm all wet. Now I'm really cold. And there's like 20 hospital staff out there trying to pull me out of the stream. And the police are just standing there like this. And I'm saying to myself, I think the hospital workers should get me, not the police. So this one little gal, she's so sweet. I hope she sees this video someday. She's a little nurse, and I kept slipping and falling, and people were falling all over me and getting wet, and we were all in the mud, the blood, and the beer. And this little gal came down into the stream, and she said, okay, David, grab my butt and hang on. I said, this is going to be good. It's good that I ran away from the hospital. I said, go for it. And damn, she did pull me up out of that stream. And after I held on to her there for about a quarter mile, she says, you can let go of my butt now. I go, but I don't want to. I feel much better. So anyway, I go back in. And they lay me in bed, and they clean me up. And the doctor comes in and he says, well, have you ever been committed? I said, well, I was committed to my kids and committed to my wives. He goes, no, I mean to an institution. I go, no, I've never been committed. So I just walked out of here like it was normal. So a long story short, he didn't want me to be in the hospital. And I said, can I call somebody? And he said, yeah. So I called my son, the one I love the most. I said, Dan, I'm in the hospital. Can you come and get me? He goes, no, Dad, are you trying to kill yourself again? I go, yeah, I am. He says, I'm not driving that far. Get a cab. And it's like 80 miles. And so I called my wife, and she called an FLDS friend of mine, and he did. He drove to the hospital, and he and my wife picked me up and took me home. Well, that's when I went to the doctor, and he said, David, I'm really sorry. I should have been more vigilant. I didn't know. I forgot to tell you that that can happen after open heart surgery. So the story that I'm telling you, it has funny parts, but it also has a serious part. I would have missed my girls' birthdays. I would have missed, the vacations we've had since then. I would have missed the $1 million that I inherited and put back in that safe there. And I would have missed all of these videos. I couldn't have done these if I was dead. I don't know. Maybe I could have. I don't know. But anyway, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling discouraged, if you're unemployed, you're having trouble with your job, you're having trouble with your wife, your kids hate your guts, and you're hurting. I mean, I never knew what a woman felt like pushing a baby through her vagina. But you know what? I think I'm in a close second with quad bypass surgery. I was so damn hurt for 7 or 8 months. I took a lot of prescription OxyContin. But anyway, there is a life after death. To me, that was a death. There is a life after death. And I'm going to tell you something that I've never told anybody. When I was suicidal years ago, I was standing on a bridge, and there was a river underneath running, and I had trapped some mice in my house, and they were not paying rent. And they were on the old shelf sticky board. So I'm standing there, and I got one that's alive. I said, you son of a gun, you didn't pay any rent. You're gone. So I threw him in the middle of the river. Well, there goes that problem. And I stood there, and this made a terrible impression on me. I mean, this was, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago. And damn, the mouse started to swim with this yellow board on his back that weighed probably twice as much as the mouse. And I kept yelling at him, give it up. What is that? It's futile, the morgue. It's futile to fight or whatever. He's swimming, and he's kicking his back feet. And I keep yelling because I feel guilty now, because he just doesn't drown. He floats. That mouse struggled and struggled and struggled. And I thought to myself, here I am, an adult human. If someone sticky boarded me and threw me in, I'd just put my head in the water and go, hey, it just saves time. But here was this little creature swimming, trying to save his own life. Well, he did swim over to the side, and he went up the side with a sticky board on him. So I don't think he ever got married, because a lot of female mice go, hey, the sticky board is not for me. But anyway, the moral of the story is this little creature, which was nowhere near microscopic intelligence to me and potential, thought that life was worth living, even if you're on a sticky board. So I'm telling you, right now, if you're a Mormon or you're not a Mormon and you're on a sticky board, that mouse taught me a lesson. And if my last suicide attempt helps anybody, I can't imagine why I didn't die. Well, Jesus wanted me to make these videos, I guess. But please, give yourself some time. Please, go see a doctor. Now, my doctor put another med in my handful of meds that I take that keeps me pretty even, pretty happy, hey, everything's cool. So I don't get down like I did, being bipolar. And so see a doctor. And if he's an idiot or she's an idiot, go see another one. Go see a psychiatrist. I've been all those places. Eventually, you may find a cocktail that you'll feel better. And then suddenly, you'll make videos like this, or you'll make some kind of contribution to the world. You know, I was thinking of Colonel Sanders. He didn't invent Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was 65. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing if you like chicken. But anyway, life does go on. We can find a way and a reason to live. And when you think of that little mouse swimming with that huge orange board on his back and swimming for his life, I think I need to remember that. And if any of you have been in the condition I was in, maybe you need to remember that too. Thanks.